have 90 seconds for introductory remarks, introduce themselves, and their platform. To the panel questions, we will follow the same way. The panel will ask the question, the candidates will have 60 seconds to respond. If a candidate invokes the name of another sitting candidate, that invoked candidate will have 60 seconds for response, and there will only be one 60-second response interval. So keep in mind, if you have to respond, what you're going to say. Okay, there's no questions. Mr. Longo, you have 90 seconds for your introductory remarks.
Right here,
right here, yes. Yes. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for introductory comments.
Well, good evening. My name is Tommy Longo. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Waveland, was born and raised here. I decided to run for mayor, plain and simply because I love the city of Waveland. I was mayor for a number of years before Katrina and at the time of Katrina. We put a plan in place and an outstanding board. We put a plan in place, a 5- and a 10-year recovery plan. At 5 years, we were ahead of schedule when we left office. If you remember, we picked up debris for 3 years. I had to replace water, sewer, gas, drainage, streets. For the past 8 years, I've been working as a consultant around the country with over 20 cities after natural disasters and troubleshooting problems. So I decided it's time to come home and work here. My last grant that I did was down in Texas, was requested by President Bush, and I finished that up this summer. So my life, my heart, and my home is here in the city of Waveland, and that's where I want to put my energies. I have no desire to serve a long time. I think we have some wonderful candidates in office as aldermen. I think we have some wonderful candidates running as aldermen, and I would love to help the city and then turn it over to one of these young people to take over.
Mr. Smith, 90 seconds for your introductory remark, please.
Thank you. 90 seconds isn't a long time, but I do want to say this. Of course, I think most everybody knows my name. I've been married to my lovely wife for almost 40 years, so that's a very long time. I have worked for this city for 31 years, starting out as a part-time firefighter, working my way up through the ranks to fire chief, at which point I retired in 2014 and ran for mayor. And saying all that, I love this city as much as anybody in this room. And my wife can tell you, in fact, she stays pissed off at me. It's because I stay on the phone and I work 24/7. I don't go home and turn the phone off. In fact, you may even get emails at 12:30 at night. But what I want to do, and the reason I'm running one more time, is to finish the projects that I started. Okay, finish those projects. There's other projects that we want to do, but we want to finish these projects. The city, since I've been in office, has increased in value in $45 million. That's a lot. We built over 200 homes and businesses. So I think that, in fact, the value of our mill went from $60,000 when we took office to $65,000. So all I'm asking is one more term. Let's finish what we started.
My name is Jay Trapani. I'm the independent candidate, another independent candidate for mayor of Waveland. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's nice to see tonight. Most asked questions, why am I doing this? Why are you running for mayor? I have a great job as the executive director of Hope Haven, but I'm running for the people of the city. A lot of people in the city are not happy with what's going on. They're not happy with the staffing in the police department, the fire department. I hear tonight that there's some more monies that are put into the budget for those guys. They're not happy with the situation with drainage. They're not happy with the situation with our roads. So roads are not well maintained. You heard the alderman talk about the corridors coming into the city. These things need to change. Over the past 4 years, I haven't seen these changes that I was expecting. I'm also running to bring back Coleman Avenue. I live right off of Coleman Avenue. When I moved here, I enjoyed the restaurants here, going to Peterman's after school, getting my kids candy, ice cream and everything. We need to bring back Coleman Avenue. I'm also running to reduce the cost of flood insurance to the pre-2018 flood rates. I don't know if a lot of y'all know, but your flood insurance is going up. I'm running to increase the property values of Waveland. Friends of mine who are young tell me that property values have not gone up in years, so especially north of the tracks. And last but not least, I'm running to prevent unnecessary spending of taxpayers' money. Thank you.
Okay. We'd like to ask the candidates to come up to the seated area behind the banister here. You may take a seat. We will follow the same order of questioning. Mr. Walker will go first, followed by Mr. Belcher, and then Mr. Hanshu. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond to the questions. And I would like to reiterate to the audience that there are no questions from the audience, and there are also no remarks or comments. Please maintain the decorum as well. This is the candidate speak. Mr. Walker.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, I'd like to talk to you about something called the Opportunity Zone. It was created by the federal government to spur development in underdeveloped areas. Since then, the city of Biloxi has applied and received Opportunity Zone funding. The city of Gulfport has applied, has received it. The city of Long Beach has applied and has received it. Why has not the city of Waveland applied for Opportunity Zone designation, which gives businesses significant tax breaks in order to develop? If any city would be an Opportunity Zone, I would think it would be the city of Waveland, which was ground zero for Hurricane Katrina.
Move going alphabetical order. Mr. Longo, you have 60 seconds.
Well, that's an outstanding question, man, because the only thing that I've been able to see is what I read and hear, and is that we were drawn out of that zone. Then I was told that part of Waveland was put in the zone. I'm actually still finding out information about that, because Waveland should be, it's an easy sell, and that is what it was created for. It's just getting your partners on board to help you get it done. It's an easy sell. I don't know how to answer it. I don't know why we haven't been given that designation and that area already been done.
Thank you, Mr. Longo. Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir. The governor picked the zone, and he picked it off of census tract that already existed. And so north of Highway 90, between Highway 603 and Keel-Waveland cutoff, is the Opportunity Zone. Now, and like I said, it was picked off of census tract. So why was not the Section 8 housing units that we are overwhelmed with, that takes up all our resources, how come that wasn't included in that Opportunity Zone? And so that's the question that the governor is going to have to answer to me. I just got back from DC recently on another subject, so I am going to see the governor to find out if we can put other tracks in that zone so that we could offer that same opportunity. And I actually was on the phone yesterday with Mr. Jim, who bought the hotel, and told him about that Opportunity Zone money.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Payne.
It is really a shame that Waveland is not, the entire city of Waveland is not part of this Opportunity Zone, only the part north of Highway 90. And this goes back to the position of the mayor. The mayor should know what is in the pipeline as far as what the governor has coming down. It's the mayor's duty to go up to Jackson, our representatives, the mayor, and let them know what Waveland's all about. This should have been done before the Opportunity Zone was released, and not in hindsight. You got to be, go up there and talk as much as you can about Waveland. Everybody knows that Katrina passed over Waveland, and we need it as much as anybody. So this should have been done ahead of time and not in retrospect.
Thank you, Mr. Penn. Mr. Belcher.
Fairly simple question for the three of you. What is your overall vision for the city of Waveland for the next 4 years?
Mr. Longo.
Okay. First of all, economic development. I can't do the entire plan in 90 seconds. We did 7 charrettes in the city of Waveland. Citizens told us how they wanted the city built, how they wanted it to look, etc. We did 2 economic development plans that were adopted by our board, and the governor adopted them, and there was supposed to be recurring funds with those, and there would have been until we started losing grant funds that we already had. With vision, I have 2 economic development plans, one that includes, well, actually I have 2 for Coleman Avenue, one that encompasses the whole city. But it has to be more pronged. It has to include beautification. It has to include our youth development, because that's what companies and businesses look at when they come to your city. I have a plan for all of those things.
60 seconds.
I got it.
Mr. Smith.
All right, Mr. Jeff, we have a long-range plan for Coleman Avenue. And I'll tell you where we missed the boat was when Katrina hit. Because I don't know if y'all know it, but there was close to $300 million spent right here in the city. And you can't see it. We could have taken that money and built up Coleman Avenue to where it would overcome the floodplain. But the truth about it is, the plan that we have, and we went to Destin, Florida to look at what they do over there. We went to Pensacola Beach to look at what they do over there to overcome their flood elevation. And I'm gonna put a post down there on the beach at Coleman to show you how high 21 feet is. And that's been the challenge. So this plan that I have put together on paper in my office that I drag around in my truck with me will show you how to overcome the elevations and make this place a destination spot.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Payne.
The question was, what is your vision of Waveland? It's not what it is now. It has to change. They all hit, a lot of them hit on the corridors, Highway 90. Highway 90 needs to be beautified. It needs to be more attractive to people coming into this area. We also need to rebuild. I firmly believe that we need to rebuild Coleman Avenue back to what it was, and I believe it can be done, and it probably should have been done over the past 4 years. We need to continue to clean up blighted property, and we need to an increase in population. But we're not going to get all this unless we develop a strategic plan. We need to have a plan, a 5-year plan that will put Waveland back to where it was before Katrina.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Mr. Hanchey.
Thank you. I'd like to give you gentlemen an opportunity to answer one of the questions that I put to the alderman. Mainly, the news items recently about the redevelopment of Highway 90 and some of those issues. And if you could just share with us your vision of what kind of businesses you want to see go into Highway 90 and whether or not, or where you draw the line when it comes to cutting live oak trees in the name of development, whatnot. If you could share your vision with us, please.
Mr. Longo.
I'm actually confused about the revisiting the ordinance or not having an ordinance. We passed, because we lost so many of our live oak trees after Katrina, our board passed a very strict tree ordinance. And we actually brought in engineers and the architects where you can incorporate live oak trees and other trees in your development and also save the roots in laying the parking lots so that you wouldn't have to cut down any more trees. Now, and just ask Bill Lady with his car wash, because he had to save those trees. Now, they'll be cutting down 3 to 5 just this year, and we've lost so many, and that's so much of the character in Waveland. When it takes three to build, to grow one. I just don't understand.
Thanks, Mr. Longo. Mr. Smith?
All right, everybody knows Allison Anderson. She's a architect from Bay St. Louis. Her and I had got together and looked at the corridor plan and how Highway 90 should look, with some screening of trees, a sidewalk on the north side of the highway, so that the people would be off the highway and they'd be walking on the sidewalk, a big sidewalk. But it was right out of a $3 million plan. We submitted it to, I went to Jackson, submitted it to MDA, and they didn't see the need for it, so they didn't fund it. But I go to Jackson quite often for monies for the corridors, and real fast on the oak tree. The only reason that I broke the tie on that oak tree, on those oak trees, was one was impeding the other one anyway. So one had to go. So, you know, the other one, I don't know if it could be saved or not, but I'm all for it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Tremaine?
First of all, I'd like to say I'm against cutting oak trees. I have a tree in my backyard that I spent a lot of money saving after Katrina. My wife thought I was crazy, but it was 700 years old and I wanted to see it live even longer. Highway 90, as you approach the city, like one of the aldermen said, you need to work with the supervisors to find some funds. We were able to work with the supervisors to find funds to finish the lighthouse project. We need to work with the supervisors to find funds to beautify the corridors coming in. Highway 90 and Highway 603, that intersection is the most important intersection in Hancock County. And right now we have a hotel that's closed. Now Aubie's coming back. We have Rite Aid that's closed. We need to rebuild that intersection. It's very vital to the city. And I've had relationships with Rusty Quaid, who's developed the Iberville, and he's promised to let me work with his economic development person to
Thank you, Mr.
rebuild
Tremaine.
it.
Okay, Mr. Walker?
Thank you again. Gentlemen, earlier Mr. Smith said that he has taken a trip over to Pensacola, over to Destin, to see how they rebuilt after storms, specifically Ivan back in 2004, which wrecked Gulf Shores, wrecked Orange Beach, wrecked Pensacola. The reason that they have rebuilt to the great extent that they have, almost exactly the same as they were, is their flood elevation levels, quite frankly, are much lower than ours. FEMA targeted the Mississippi Gulf Coast after Katrina, punishing this coast with undoable and unreasonable flood elevation codes. What is your plan, if you're elected mayor, to go to FEMA, go to the powers that be, and get these flood elevation levels changed to a fair and equitable agreement?
Mr. Longo?
First of all, for the past 8 years, that's what I've been doing. I've been working with cities, started 2 years on the coast of New Jersey, worked with 5 cities on the coast of New Jersey, worked with Chris Christie, and have worked with cities across this country. Have worked with reducing the heights and elevations. Just this past month, I attended 2 FEMA floodplain meetings on lowering the elevations here in Mississippi. And I was the only person from Waveland in those 2 meetings. But I've been attending these meetings all along because we're working on it. And we just got the elevations lowered in coastal Louisiana in one city. It can be done. It just has to, you just gotta know what you're doing. You have to work with them. You have to be on top of it. And that's what I've been doing for the past 8 years.
Thank you, Mr. Longo. Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir. I've actually been working with the South Mississippi Planning and Development District for the last year and a half to reduce the flood levels or flood elevations in the Coleman Avenue District in particular and north of the railroad track. And doing that, and here's the importance of it, and real fast, where I personally live, and y'all live near, some of y'all live near me. If we don't change the elevations, your flood insurance is going to $3,290 a year. If you're below base flood, it's going to $7,000. So that's how important it is. And from what I understand, Coleman Avenue is gonna change by 5 feet, and where I live, it's gonna change by 3 feet. That's gonna save our city. If not, we can close our city down.
Mr. Crane?
On Monday of this week, I had a meeting with a coastal engineer who lives in Diamond Head. He used to live on Bienville Street in Waveland. And he said, just like Mayor Smith said, that the FEMA maps are currently being redrawn, and you're looking at, he said, a 3-foot decrease, and it should be announced sometime around December 1st. But with that being said, what is the difference between Coleman Avenue and Jeff Davis and Long Beach? How come Jeff Davis doesn't have any businesses in the first block, but then their restaurants start in the second block back? You know, we could have been working on businesses on Coleman Avenue, starting from the incubator on back to Central. Businesses would only have to go up. Everybody wants to talk about 21 feet at the beach. We didn't have restaurants at the beach. Restaurants started at Arlington Street and came back. Donald Moffrey still owns Jack's Lot. We should have had businesses on Coleman Avenue and that were built over the past 4 years.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. Mr. Belcher?
Switching gears here somewhat. What do you think about our current staffing levels in the fire department, police department, public works department, building department? Do you think we're where we need to be right now in the city of Waveland, or do we need to make some drastic changes?
Mr. Longo?
Well, I mean, one thing for sure is until you get there and work in the day-to-day operations, but I have been around and worked with them some. And I think their building inspector, Josh, is doing a tremendous job. But I do know the police department and fire department don't have the staffing that they had. They don't have the funding that they had, and there's some other things that are lacking there, and I would like to see that change. That we used to be known as the building and permit department that was the easiest to deal with when you came here and to get your permit and go through the department and go through the process. Now it's very difficult. Josh has done a great job. Nothing against him, but it's we need to streamline things and get some people in there to help them.
Yes, first of all, I hear nothing but kudos about our building department. Let me say that first. Well, those guys do a tremendous job. I come from the fire department. We had 5 people on shift since the 2000, and we still have 5 people per shift. One is a part-time, full-time, because we can save $80-some-odd thousand like that. So we are fully staffed in the fire department. Now, when we done the annexation back in 2006, just prior to 2006 rather, when we were fighting for the annexation, we had to hire 9 additional people, additional to the 15 that we had. Of course, I filed for a grant, and I was awarded 9 firefighters at a tune of $1.7 million, which the city never took up on. So, according to our Class 5, we have enough people to maintain that Class 5. Police department, we just added another policeman to that.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Crane?
I just want to fire department and police department tonight. The police department is understaffed. I heard tonight that we put another patrolman on the street. I feel like I'm the patrolman on Beach Boulevard. I'm constantly calling the police department to come out and police the volleyball area, the pier, from vandalism. 3 detectives just recently left. Our experienced detectives left our police department. And that's because of funding. I agree with Mayor Smith. There are grants out there that are available, and one of my expertises is finding grant money. I found over $500,000 of grant money in the 2.5 years I've been at Hope Haven. The fire department is understaffed. The fire department needs another person per shift. If you have a medical, they run a fire truck, and that's just wear and tear on our equipment in the city, which would cost us more money.
Mr. Hinshaw?
What do you gentlemen see as the greatest unmet need facing the city of Waveland, and what would you do in your next term as mayor to tackle that unmet need?
Mr. Longo?
I'll be honest with you, Dan, Doug, there's a lot, but, the annexed area is, the annexed area has been, woefully, neglected. We hydraulically modeled, the Corps of Engineers, the entire drainage system in the city of Waveland. We identified, flooding issues that could negate a great deal of the problem in there. We had a 6-day, 5-day, 4-day plan as a storm came in there. And also, we're in line for a CDBG grant to expand sewer in that area. Both of those, neither one of those were followed through on, and that area has just been woefully neglected, and I feel terrible for
Thank
it.
you, Mr. Longo. Mr. Smith?
All right, thank you. What I see in the future of Waveland is, and this is according to the board director himself, is what comes first, chicken or the egg? So we gotta have the people before the business come. So we are doing that. We cleaned up the city better than it's ever been. And by doing that, we're getting extra people move here. Like I said earlier, we built 200 new homes and businesses. And so each with that comes people. So, and evidence of that is our sales tax revenue over the last 4 or 5 months has been consistently 20 to 25,000 above projected levels. I mean, so that's those people that's moving in here. So once the people come, the business is gonna come as well. So it's to continue bringing the people in, bringing them home, and then steady going after businesses, which I do on a consistent basis.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Petty?
With over 30 years' experience in healthcare sales, a manager taught me a long time ago to plan, and Mr. Tebby hit on it earlier. The unmet need that we have now is a comprehensive strategic plan for economic growth that brings back residents and businesses to the city. The main thing is we need residents. Sales tax is one thing. On $1 million sales tax, how much does the city get? Does anybody know? Anybody know the calculation? $1 million sales tax, the city gets $12,600. We need ad valorem taxes. We need people here, people buying houses, like we've had some growth because of the overflow from Bay St. Louis, but we need to attract people. We need to put a marketing plan together to attract people to this area.
Gentlemen, one thing I heard all of the, or some of the candidates for alderman say was the reason why we're having trouble attracting people here, the reason why people aren't moving here is there's nothing for people to do. Nothing for adults to do, nothing for children to do. So if you're elected mayor, what is the one thing that you think could be a draw, an attraction for this city, and where would you put it, and what would it be?
I don't know that there is one thing. I do know that if you want to bring families here, that we have got to do, youth activities. Now, I keep hearing, remember, our fields were the hardest hit, but we're the first to bring them back up. We had everybody from Hancock County to Bay St. Louis to Waveland, plus the high schools played on our fields until I left office. Now we have nobody. We don't have to duplicate what they do in the Bay. But as I've traveled around the country and worked with other cities, there's all kind of alternative sports that they do that draw huge crowds, and youth groups will play there, and they want to. And I've talked to coaches that are ready to get started there. We have 2 college coaches that live here already. That also brings economic development, but it's not just one thing, and I have a plan that covers that whole thing.
Thank you, Mr. Longo. Mr. Smith?
All right, and I sit here very proudly as I look out over the crowd, because we have spent a considerable amount of money in our Central Avenue Park. fixing to build a brand new community center in the MLK Park. We put 2 splash pads in. We are turning one of the softball fields into a soccer adult kickball field. So, you know, that is currently underway. And right now, there's a church that I'm coaxing to buy the old skate park so that they could take part of it and make it an indoor recreation center for the young adults, to keep them off the street, keep them out of trouble. So I'm helping them do that, and they're going to run it themselves. And they're building it right next to the Section 8 apartments to keep those guys off the street and in the park playing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Payne?
Mr. Walker, I respectfully disagree that we don't have anything for adults and youth here. Most of the people in here, a lot of percentage of people are from New Orleans, and came over here, found a good quality of life, found a nice beach, and decided to move here. New Orleans for 6 or 8 years, I can't recall. There's some friends of mine who drive to Audubon Zoo, just built a brand new house on Hoffman Lane. We need to market this place. If we market this place correctly, we can get people here. James Carville told me, we don't have billboards on the interstate telling people where Waveland is, what Waveland has to offer. We should have a billboard out there. There's one at 603 and one out by the Infinity Space Center. We have the small town charm that all the aldermen talked about. We need to keep that small town charm. We have good schools, we have good youth athletic programs, and we need to capitalize it and market it.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Mr. Miller?
One of the topics that keeps coming up in this whole discussion tonight is Section 8 housing, low-income housing developments, and that's kind of been where the population center growth has occurred. What can we do to bring back the older people that left after Katrina, whose like second-generation homes have been destroyed but could not be rebuilt? What can you do as mayor to bring back, you know, the hard-working people that used to be the backbone of Waveland?
Mr. Walker?
Well, that's one of the things that concerns me greatly, because, first of all, there are some companies looking at coming here, and before Katrina, I worked with every contractor that wanted to, and we built subdivisions to meet those needs, and those workers, when they moved here, we sold out subdivisions in less than a year. We can do that again. But for our senior citizens and people on fixed incomes, and we have to be very careful, because I've seen this happen around the country, where you start having very expensive homes built down on the beach, places up like in Connecticut and New Jersey that are close to New York, and people have a lot of money, start building $10, $20 million homes. The property taxes start going up way high. People on fixed incomes can't afford it. They have to start renting their homes out for the summer, and then they have to sell. So we have to do it, offset it with economic development, so that you can do it right,
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
so that our people can still live here.
Mr. Smith?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Section 8 housing, it seems like we got the lion's share of Section 8 housing that uses up all of our resources. But I will say this, my first trip to Jackson, and Jeremy was with me, sit across from some representatives, and I said, we're overloaded, what can we do to stop it? And he said nothing. Because when you stop it, you give up all your federal funding. And so what I come up with, in fact, I talked to a developer today about with the old shopping center, and I said, if y'all will build a shopping center, give us a small room, we can put a police substation in there and make sure that y'all are protected. Because we have lost 4 developers because Section 8 housing on Waveland Avenue, where the old shopping center is. Okay, we need that rebuilt. So I'm working with it, so.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Payne?
As you approach Waveland on Highway 90, coming from New Orleans, or there's a sign that says Certified Retirement Community. Does anybody know what that means? Because I don't know what it means. I'll be perfectly honest. We want to attract retired people back, we need to capitalize on that also. I need to study it. I just thought about it with the question. Some friends of mine's parents lived at the condos on St. Joseph before Katrina. I've talked to a developer who's interested in bringing those condos back. He's a local developer. We also need to continue to fund, I sat in a couple of Waveland's budget meetings, we need to continue to fund the senior citizens programs. And also, one good thing that happened is the county kept the hospital open. We could not survive as a community, especially with senior citizens, if we did not have a hospital in this community. So that was good.
Mr. Penny? Thank you.
We talked an awful lot tonight about public safety, and crime in the community. Some of the aldermen talked about the fact that the police budget's been increased. If y'all could explain, and I've seen some differences of opinion on that issue, exactly, some people have indicated it's understaffed, other people have said that we're just fine. If you could just share your overall vision for the police department in particular, under the next administration.
Mr. Longo?
No, I think it's very obvious that it's understaffed. I think the people that we have do an outstanding job. I'm very proud of them. But I would like to see us get back to doing more community policing, being more involved in the community. We used to have functions in the community with the police officers and put them in touch with the people. The people in the community knew them. We used to have meetings once a week in different areas of the community. I used to attend, and different people on the police department. I think that involvement in the community goes a long way in not only stopping crime, but also getting the young people more involved where they understand what police activities and police action is all about.
Thank you, Mr. Longo. Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir, and I look at back from my 31-year history with the city, and the most I've ever seen on shift for a police department is 4. Now, do I want to get back to 4? Sure, I'd love to. On the fire department, we've always had 5, and a part-timer at night. Now, we built that station, I say we, I was a part of it, out on Highway 90 to house 2 engine companies, 8 personnel. 70% right now of our budget go to personnel. I mean, so you have to have the money. And remember, back in 2011, we were almost bankrupt. So we've been inching our way back. And we don't have enough. We had 42 people in the public works department, and right now we have half that. So we can't expect half to do what the whole done before. And I'm sorry,
You got 5 more seconds.
well, no, it takes a lot longer than that for me.
Mr. Penny?
Over 90% of our calls come from the Section 42 housing area. I believe what Mayor Smith said earlier, that if we could put a substation out there, it would help a lot. And that takes money. And part of my expertise, as I've mentioned earlier, is finding grants. There's a VOCA grant right now, Victim of Crime Act grant that Ronald Reagan started in the 80s. The state of Mississippi has over $30 million available in those grant monies. We get them at Hope Haven. We get a nice grant. And I've talked to Assistant Police Chief Prendergast about the VOCA grant. The other thing is we need a coordinated effort with the Sheriff's Department. I don't know how much talking goes back and forth. You know, the Sheriff's Department, you see their cars on the streets out here, but you know, that's just giving you extra manpower out there. So we need to work very closely with the Sheriff's Department in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Okay, candidates, we have gone through the same amount of questions that we had offered the alderman candidates. Now we're going to move into the section for closing arguments. You each get 90 seconds. Well, the legal family, so
How much am I thinking?
victim of growing up in that environment. your closing statement. How's that? You have 90 seconds for your closing statement to wrap up anything that you want to wrap up. And we will go again in alphabetical order. Mr. Longo.
Now, don't stop me starting my time yet. Figure out where I want to start for 90 seconds. All right. Anybody that knows me knows I have no problem finding money and finding grant money. That's what I've done for the city and done it well. I also, like the mayor said, would like to see some projects done. I have engineered projects that were engineered when I left office 8 years ago that are still engineered that haven't been started. So I'd like to see those completed. But also those corridors and the plans that we have in place, I would like to take them back to the public and tweak them, because our board was empowered. We had some great board members. We can do that with this board, and we can really strive with these plans, comprehensive plans with vision, economic development, youth programs, and move forward and make Waveland just what it needs to be, what it can be. Somebody kept saying, do we want to go back to what it used to be? And somebody kept saying, which administration are you talking about? And I hate to steal a line from somebody else, but man, when did y'all get tired of winning? Because that's all we ever did. We had a program a month. We had programs, if nothing else, remember, just on a weekend program. All right. We won all the time. Let's not get tired of winning. Let's get back. You win all the time, Joe.
I didn't look at you and say, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I have devoted my entire adult life to the betterment of the citizens of this community. The fire department, when I left it was top notch, #1. The police department, yeah, it went down to 0 and was operated by the sheriff's office. But I will say this, if our fire department goes out on the call, they St. Louis automatically respond. By the time I get there, there's enough firemen to put up the whole city. But I need this next 4 years to finish the projects that I worked my tail off on. And this board that I have, that I've been fortunate to work with, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't broken many ties over these last 4 years. We have a fantastic board. But we just need to finish these projects, do some things better. We're not perfect. But allow that one more turn for me, and then I'll step aside and y'all do whatever. But I need that one more turn. That's all I'm asking for.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Fanning.
Becoming the mayor of our great city is about bringing focused leadership to City Hall to move the city forward, but at the same time preserving our small town charm. We need to revitalize our city. We need to freshen it up and make it more attractive to new residents and new businesses, as well as our current residents and businesses. I have a proven record of being a resourceful, hardworking individual while successfully running businesses as a member of a school advisory council, running youth athletic programs, and an active member in my church. With over 35 years of experience in business management, a degree in management and marketing, a deep love for our city, and the support of so many of our neighbors, I ask for your support to lead this wonderful city into the next decade. If you have any questions for me afterwards, please give me a call or email me. I have 2 ladies in the back who will be handing out some rack cards with some more information about our platform. I want to thank the Hancock County Alliance for Good Government for hosting this event. Thank everyone for coming, and have a safe drive home. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had the opportunity to listen to our candidates for the Waveland Board of Aldermen and to the seat of mayor. They've delivered their thoughts and stances on certain issues that face the city of Waveland and its citizens. While I am not a citizen of the city of Waveland, I wish to thank you for your time tonight and the many great points that each of you have presented to those present. Your insights and your campaign have given each of us a lot to think about in the days to come. For the audience, I urge each and every one of you to weigh what these brave candidates have presented to you. Furthermore, I urge you to take part in this country's greatest civil liberty, which is the right to vote. We are all part of this great republic. However, our voice can only be heard with participation in the voting booth. So on Tuesday, November 6th, please let your voice be heard. I wish all good luck to the candidates far and wide.
December 4th.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's December 4th. There is an election coming up November 6th. Don't forget that. And I'm not a citizen of Waveland, so December 4th is far from my mind. But please, I urge you to exercise your civil liberty to vote. It is the greatest civil liberty we have in this country. Ms. Leonard, thank you very much for allowing me to.